All right, let's get right into it because we're talking about something that every single one of us deals with. And honestly, something that drives us all crazy forgetting. You know the feeling, right? You walk into a room and just stop. You have no idea why you're there. Or you're trying to find a word that's right on the tip of your tongue and it just vanishes. It's not just a blank space, is it? It feels kind of personal. It almost feels like you failed a test you didn't even know you were taking. So, why is that? I mean, this quote just nails it. We don't see forgetting as just a brain thing, like breathing or blinking. We treat it like a character flaw. If you forget, you must be lazy or careless or just not trying hard enough. It's not a glitch, it's a personal failing. And it all really boils down to this one huge, powerful myth. If you forget something, you must have never really learned it to begin with. We treat forgetting as hard evidence that the whole learning process just didn't work. Well, today we're going to completely tear that idea apart. So if this belief is totally wrong, why does it have such a grip on us? Why does it feel so true? Well, it turns out we're all walking around with a completely faulty blueprint for how our own minds work. We tend to think of our memory as, a box, or maybe a library, or a computer's hard drive. We put memories in there, and we just expect them to stay put. So, naturally, when we go to pull something out and it's gone, our only logical conclusion is that the box must be leaky. The container is broken. And that's exactly why this broken model is so hard to shake. That feeling of going blank, it's super frustrating, and it feels deeply personal. It feels like a loss. And our memory is so wrapped up in who we are, our intelligence, our competence, that when it seems to fail, it feels like we are failing. We think, but I tried so hard to remember that, as if effort alone should guarantee perfect recall. And let's be honest, our entire school system is basically built on this idea. Tests are all about recalling information at one specific moment in time. You remember it, you get an A. You forget it, you fail. In that world, forgetting isn't just a minor slip-up. It's the very definition of ignorance. But what if this is all wrong? What if we've been asking the wrong question the whole time? What if the brain isn't even trying to be a perfect storage unit? This is where we pivot. Let's talk about what the brain's actual job is. This slide right here is the absolute game changer. We assume the brain is all about storage, like a giant, dusty warehouse for facts. But the reality, the brain is a biological organ, and it's optimized for something much more important, keeping you alive and functioning in a messy, changing world. Its real goals are survival, efficiency, and being able to adapt. And it has to do all of this while playing by some pretty strict rules. Your brain is working with a limited amount of energy. It can only handle so much information at once. And on top of all that, it's being absolutely bombarded with new information from your senses every single second. It's not some supercomputer with unlimited power. So think about this for a second. If your brain actually held on to every single thing you ever saw, heard, or thought, it would be a complete disaster. It would be drowning in useless, outdated junk. Your brain isn't asking, did someone teach me this? It's constantly making a much smarter, more ruthless calculation. Is this piece of information actually worth the energy it costs to keep it around? Which leads us to a pretty radical idea when you think about it. Forgetting isn't a glitch in your mental software. It's not a bug. It's a feature. And it might be one of the most important things your brain does for you. Just let that idea sit for a moment. Forgetting isn't loss. It's protection. We've been taught our whole lives to see it as a weakness, but it's really the brain's way of protecting itself, of keeping the whole system running smoothly. So how does it protect you? Well, for starters, it saves a ton of energy. Holding on to memories costs fuel. Second, it cuts down on interference. By getting rid of the clutter, it's way faster and easier to find the important stuff. Third, it helps you adapt. Forgetting old, wrong information is literally what allows you to learn new, better information. And finally, it protects you emotionally by letting painful or useless memories fade away over time. This quote just sums it all up perfectly. Forgetting isn't the enemy attacking your mind. It's the bodyguard, the safeguard, the bouncer at the door, making sure only the important stuff gets to stay. Okay, so if the old memory as a library model is busted, what do we replace it with? We need a new way of thinking about memory, a new mental model that actually fits with how the brain works. So let's just go ahead and toss that old library model in the trash. The new, much more accurate way to think about it is this. Memory is like a landscape, and it's constantly being shaped by something called selective erosion. Okay, picture it like this. Every new piece of info, every memory, is like a little structure you build on this mental landscape. Now imagine the wind and the rain are always blowing. That's just time passing, and you not using that memory. This is erosion. The structures that are left standing after a year aren't necessarily the ones you put the most effort into building. They're the ones you kept visiting, reinforcing, and using. They're the ones that prove to be relevant. And this idea just flips our whole perspective upside down. In this new model, forgetting, the erosion, isn't a failure. It's the normal, natural, default state of things. It's always happening. It's remembering that's the strange and special event. Remembering is the exception to the rule. So here's the big takeaway. The next time you forget a name or a word, your first thought shouldn't be, what's wrong with me? It should be, oh, right, my brain is just doing its job. Forgetting isn't a sign your brain is broken. It's actually a sign that it's healthy, efficient, and working exactly the way it's supposed to. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Now that you know forgetting is a feature, not a flaw, that it's a vital function designed to protect and streamline your mind, how does that change the way you think about your own memory? How does it change the way you feel the next time you forget? Pretty interesting stuff to chew on. Thanks for joining me.